Programming brought to you by AWI Networks. Smarter Internet.
Thanks for joining St. George News at 8. I'm Scott Beadle. The Salt Lake City police officer seen in a viral video handcuffing a nurse at a hospital is out of a job. Detective Jeff Payne was fired after an internal investigation. The review determined that Payne had violated department policies when he arrested nurse Alex Wubbles, dragging her screaming from the hospital. Video of that confrontation did go viral and resulted in apologies from the Salt Lake City Police Department as well as the mayor. Payne's attorney said he does plan to appeal that firing, which he considers unfair. Payne's supervisor, Lieutenant James Tracy, was demoted to officer. Now, the incident stemmed from the officers asking for a blood draw from someone injured in a car crash. Wubbles told officers that without a warrant or formal consent, the hospital would not do that draw. She was initially arrested, but was later freed and never charged. A Taylorsville man accused of starting the Brian Head fire pleaded not guilty Tuesday. 61-year-old Robert Ray Lyman entered that plea through a lawyer. He faces 1 count of reckless burning and 1 count of failing to notify authorities or obtain a permit before burning. Both of those are misdemeanors. The Brian Head fire burned some 70,000 acres and cost $34 million to fight. Lyman is accused of accidentally starting it when burning weeds on his property back on June 17th. A St. George man with an extensive criminal history has been arrested on drug dealing charges. Washington County Drug Task Force has arrested 23-year-old Aaron Richard Wallace on suspicion of selling meth. The task force says during an investigation, they conducted controlled buys of meth on at least 3 occasions from Wallace. He was booked into the Washington County Purgatory Correctional Facility, and the following day was also charged with felony theft. Investigators believe he stole a car from a Washington County woman, which was located at a casino in Mesquite, Nevada. The 31st annual Huntsman World Senior Games opened Tuesday night with a ceremony at Dixie State's Legend Solar Stadium. The games are open to athletes age 50 and older and are expected to draw in nearly 11,000 competitors from all 50 states and nearly 30 countries. Almost 3,000 local volunteers help stage the games, which have around 30 sports, ranging from archery to volleyball. Record-setting Ironman triathlete James Lawrence gave the opening address, speaking to a crowd of several thousand. Well, if you're a fan of the HBO series Westworld, or just think you could fit into the show's time periods, you could be on the show. The network recently announced an open casting call in North Hollywood. Men and women need to be at least 18. Men should be either clean-shaven or have facial hair that would fit into the 1890s, such as mutton chops, mustaches, or beards. Women must have longer natural hair that is only one color. Filming is set to begin in mid to late October in southern Utah. To apply, you can email a natural photo of yourself to westworldutah@gmail.com. You'll also want to include your height, weight, and clothing size measurements. We are now learning more about the minutes leading up to last week's mass shooting in Las Vegas. The clear timeline is raising questions whether better communication could have allowed police to respond more quickly. Scott Goldberg explains.
Today, the Mandalay Bay Hotel released to the public some of the first radio calls about gunman Stephen Paddock from maintenance worker Stephen Shook, who was fired on by the shooter as he approached the suite, gunshots heard in the background.
Call the police. Someone's firing a gun up here. Someone's firing a rifle on the 32nd floor down the hallway.
Copy. Hey, it's on 32. Stephen, get out of the way.
According to police, this was at least 6 minutes before Paddock began firing down onto the thousands of concertgoers below.
Katie wants to know if you know a room.
It's at the end of the hallway. I can't tell you what room. He looked like he fired down the hallway when I got close to the door.
This new audio adding to the questions about whether the hotel could have done more in those 6 minutes to stop the shooter from carrying out his plan.
In those 6 minutes, you may have been able to create a disruption of some sort that would have kept him from doing what he ultimately did.
And now one of the shooter's victims, 21-year-old college student Paige Gasper, filing a lawsuit against multiple parties, including the resort and Paddock's estate.
for 6 minutes, nothing happened, and then this criminal started shooting at these innocent people. So the timeline is extremely crucial, and it's going to be a big focus of the lawsuit and the investigation.
In a statement today, MGM Resorts praises its employees and pledges support to the victims, but offers no further clarification about what unfolded that night.
Chief Meteorologist Chris Summers has your Southern Utah forecast coming up right after.
The weather tonight is brought to you by AWI Networks, smarter internet.
And welcome back, everyone. A good Wednesday evening to you. It's a pretty nice day across our area today. Temperatures low 80s here late this afternoon. Just 1 degree above our normal high for St. George is 80. We had a high of 81 degrees here. Overnight lows are in the 40s, so a little cool to start. That's for sure. But again, dry weather continues across our region. We had dry weather here the last several days, and our year-to-date total so far is still only at 5.38 inches of rain here in St. George. Now, our forecast as we head into our Thursday, really a carbon copy of what we saw today. Maybe just a little bit breezier, though, by the afternoon hours. Otherwise, temperature-wise, about 80s or low 80s in most areas. Now, Cedar City will be in the upper 60s with mostly sunny skies. Upper 70s to low 80s from Hurricane to St. George, and Mesquite at 84 degrees. Mostly sunny skies expected. Again, northwest winds, maybe up to 15 miles per hour across our region. Here's your highs from today. Low 70s to our north from Enterprise and Cedar City at 71 degrees. Otherwise, low 80s from Mesquite to Hurricane to St. George, and 86 degrees the high temperature today down in Las Vegas. What else can we expect to see? Next couple days are a little breezy as winds will pick up a little bit as we head into the afternoon hours of our Thursday. Otherwise sunny and pretty pleasant temperature wise. Again, right where we should be for this time of year. High temperatures very close to low 80s here in St. George. Now as we head into your Friday, still very pleasant, maybe just a tad bit warmer as we get to Friday afternoon. And our dry weather continues into the weekend with sunshine and very pleasant conditions continuing as well. May see a little dip in temperatures as we get to the weekend, though. May see temperatures dip back into the 70s. And could be looking at some upper 50s to even mid 50s for high temperatures around Cedar City. Here's what we expect to see for your Thursday. That front coming through the area, really going to be just kind of a dry front that comes through. What you'll notice is a wind change, as winds will probably be out of the southwest through much of the day, though. Pretty windy to start, but then once the front moves by, northwest winds back in the forecast with a little bit cooler weather arriving too. As we head into the afternoon hours, we could see temperatures again staying about where they were today with low 80s in most areas. Here's your high temperatures as we head into your Thursday for Cedar City. Upper 60s to near 70 in most areas. Lots of sunshine, a little breezy. Southwest winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. And for St. George and Southern Utah, again, upper 70s to low 80s. 81 degrees the high temperature expected here in St. George. Sunny skies and pleasant weather continuing as well. Now, extended forecast keeps temperatures in the mid to upper 60s in Cedar City with mostly sunny skies. But as we get to the weekend, drop in temperatures getting back into the mid 50s or so on Saturday around Cedar City, then back to mid 60s and eventually low 70s returning by the time we get to early next week. Now, St. George and Southern Utah, again, seeing temperatures once again in low 80s for Thursday, Friday, then to dip back into the low 70s for a high on Saturday before we do warm back up once again mid to upper 70s on Sunday and then low 80s returning as we head to the middle part of next week. So overall, temperature-wise, you really can't complain about that, but a little breezy still as we head to your Thursday, and then just a little dip in temperatures just in time for the weekend.
Yeah, a little chilly in the mornings maybe, but you know, those highs, it's just about perfect,
exactly.
isn't it?
Can't really complain about the high temperatures right where they should be for this time of year. And again, no rain, but definitely seeing some nice weather here over the next 7 days.
All right, thanks, Chris. We'll be right back. Call to come to the school office usually is not a reason to jump for joy, but it was for 6th grader Tana Butterfield, seen here leaping into the arms of her school's office manager near Salt Lake City last week. You see, the 11-year-old had just received the news she'd been waiting for, not just for herself, but for her younger siblings too. After more than 2 years, a judge gave the green light for the 3 of them to be adopted.
I just grabbed her and I just said, honey, I said, oh baby, have you heard the news? And she said, what? And I said, you get your family, you get your forever family.
She put her hands on my shoulders and I said, what's happening? And she said, well, everything went okay at court, you're getting adopted, and I just did that. It made me feel really happy. I'm looking forward to having family time, spending all of our lives together and just being together. And I know that like having someone to actually love me.
Tana's soon-to-be mom says Tana was anxious about last week's court hearing, so she asked Miss Jackie to give Tana the good news at school.
That is some good news, and glad to see that the family's going to stay together, all the siblings. That's always good too.
Just such a beautiful moment there. Thanks for watching.
We hope you have a great night.